Hi there, and welcome to your 2020 Sunset Sunlight 16BH. We're just going to start off in the back corner of the bumper here. Take this bumper cap, give it a squeeze, pull it on out, and there should be a sewer hose in there, which there is not, so we'll have to get one of those put in there for you. But that is where we usually put the sewer hose, just keeps the stench out of the unit. In each corner of the trailer, you have these stabilizer jacks. There's a tool in the front compartment that I'll show you in a second. You just hook that tool up to this, run these down to the ground, give it another quarter turn just to stiffen it up, and it's just going to take any bounce or sway you see that we have in the unit right now. Right next to that is your sewer outlet. Just take note of these ears here. Your sewer hose will have those same ears. They just lock onto those little knobs there. You give it that turn to lock it down, and you would be hooked up. You got a black valve and a gray valve. Your black valve is going to be your dirtiest water, which is filled from your toilets. So you're always going to want to empty that first. And then you have your gray valve, which is going to be filled from your sinks and your shower. So you empty that last. Kind of rinses out that hose a little bit, keep some of that smell away. Right here, you do have your two low point drains. So if you ever are going to replace a faucet or you're leaving the unit for a while, you don't want any water in the lines, you just take these caps off. It'll drain all the water that's inside the lines, and you will be good to go. Right here is your exterior shower. That's pretty simple. You just got one of these silver keys. Stick it in there. Give it a turn. It pops it on open. You have hot and cold water. Right next to that is your access port to your hot water heater. Not a whole lot you're going to see down here other than this pressure relief valve. So before you ever go to fire up your hot water heater, you just want to hit that pressure relief valve. There should be a shot of water that comes out. This unit is currently winterized, so there's no water sitting in the tank, but you would want that shot of water. If you don't see that shot of water, it's just telling you that your tank's empty. You're not going to want to fire it up. This little bolt here, this is the drain for your hot water tank. So you're just going to pop that off. I believe it's a 1-inch socket. And that's how you drain your hot water tank. I do recommend doing that every time you plan on leaving the unit for a couple weeks. In here is just your front compartment. Here is the sewer hose that should be in your bumper. I can move that after. And then here is the tool for the stabilizer jacks I was telling you about. You just take this end, stick it in there, and you can run it up and down, run them up and down as you need them. Right here is access to your water pump for winterization. So you can just take this cap off, hook the appropriate line up to there, put it in your pail of coolant. Here's your fresh water fill. So that's going to be filling your freshwater tank. That's what your water pump draws off of. If you're at a site with service, you can just plug a garden hose up into here. It's going to pressurize all your lines. Not having to run that water pump is nice. Up front here, in this box here, is your battery. We currently do have it disconnected because it is winter time here. And inside here is your propane tanks. Normally, you can just open up this quick little access cap, turn your tank on, you're good to go. But for the purpose of this video, I'll just take this off and show you that there is this little valve here. So right now with this pointed here, you're drawing off this tank. So I currently have this tank open for the purpose of the video. Let's say this tank were to run empty, you can just turn the valve to that tank, disconnect this tank, get it filled back up. So you can always have that kind of backup tank system going. You got your tongue jack in front, one way's up, one way's down. You do have more storage in the front. You have your two exterior speakers. This is just your service port for your fridge. Not much you have to worry about there. You do get two 110 outlets on the outside here. And right here is your furnace exhaust. So whenever you're running that furnace, you are just going to want to make sure that you don't have that blocked because it blows out hot air. And then right here is just a propane quick connect. So with the flow of propane closed, you can pop that the propane quick connect in there, lock it into place. Turning this valve turns the flow of propane on. With the flow of propane on, you can't take this cap off just for safety measure. And then right here is your plug-in. So this is just your standard 30 amp plug. Most campsites should have this. You can plug right on in. If your campsite doesn't have this, or you want to plug in at home to run your refrigerator, we do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keeping in mind you are going down to 15 amps of power, so you won't be able to run something like your air conditioner. Open up the door. First things first, we do have these nice stairs. The way those work is you just pull this blue tab and unlocks them from the frame. They come on down. Just take note that these pins here, these pins do just pop out, and you can adjust these feet up or down for your campsite's needs. Straight up on your left hand side there a little bit, you will see you do have that fire extinguisher. On your right is your breaker and fuse panel. So you open that up, you do have your breakers. When a breaker pops, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on to reset it. And then right next to that is all your fuses. Whenever a fuse pops, there is going to be a little red indicator light telling you which fuse is blown. And then right next to that is your furnace output. So this is where the furnace is going to be putting out all its hot air. So I do recommend getting even a little fan to try and blow the hot air around a little bit, but you do have this nice little vent that you can change the direction that the air goes. If you take a step on inside, right up on your left here, you do have these light switches. This one on the one light switch on the left does do the awning light on the awning. This light does your little interior entryway lights. And then you do have another light switch, which should turn on more lights in here. And then you have your water pump switch. And then you have your electric and gas water heater options. You can fire it up on either or. Whenever you go to fire it up on your gas option, you're going to hit that button. The water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times with gas. If on the 3rd try it's not successful, this fault light's going to come on. At that point, you just have to hit this switch off, give it a few seconds, and then you can turn it back on, and it'll reset the procedure. Right down, the last thing I'm going to show you here is just your awning button. So you hit that button, hit it, hold it out, and the awning should make its way out. Now, the way you're going to know that awning's fully extended is you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Luckily, we do have my cameraman watching me today. So there you go. You get that back of the metal tube and that little flap. Sometimes this flap can get stuck, so you just have to roll it in for a second and then back out. If you were ever to get rain, take any arm, front or rear, make sure it's always loosened off, and you can pull that arm in, fighting the gas strut. Just tighten up that knob, and that holds that in place. Now, if you do like that angle better, you can do the same thing to the front arm, and it's going to allow for more shade. But whenever you go to bring it in, just always making sure that you do loosen this off and let it slide back out to its full extension. That way you're not running the risk of bending anything when you bring it in. So you just hit that button in. You'll hear it start to make its way in. You're going to know that's fully in when you hear the motor stop. So there you go. Now that awning's fully in. Right up here on your left, you do have your fridge. Pretty simple in here. You got auto. Right now, it's currently in auto, so it's always going to check for AC power first. If AC power is cut out, then it'll switch over to gas. If you want it to run solely on gas, you just let that button out, and now it's going to fire solely on gas. Your main on switch is just right here. So with the button off, obviously it's off, and with the button pressed in, it's on. You do have a fridge and a freezer. Step on inside. You will notice that you do have an LP detector right in front of there. So propane's heavier than air. That guy's going to detect it. If that guy ever starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane to the unit, open up all the windows, air it out a little bit in here. In here, you just have storage as well as a little book thing for all the owner's manuals and stuff for this unit. You got your stereo, which is just like home with the exception of zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 2 is always going to be your exterior speakers and zone 1 will be interior speakers. You do have a microwave, that's going to be just like home. And then you do have this range hood. Now, whenever you're using the stovetop, you're always going to want to make sure you are running that exhaust fan, drawing all those propane fumes out of the unit. The way that the stove works is pretty simple. You just turn it on onto the high/light option. You hit it with a lighter, lights right on up. Then right below that is just more storage, with the exception of this right here. Down below here, you will notice that is your hot water heater, and that is your bypass valves for winterization. And then you got your nice bed, storage. You do have a USB plug, 2 USB plugs right here, as well as the 110 outlet. And then on this wall here, you will notice is your thermostat. On the bottom here is your temperature selector. Obviously, with it all the way to the left is on its lowest temperature setting, and all the way to the right is on its hottest temperature settings. To turn it on and off is just this little switch on the top here. You hit that, you hit it to the left, it'll turn it on. You hit it to the right, turns it off. Take a step inside the bathroom here. You just got your shower with hot and cold water, as well as your toilet. If you were to want a TV in this unit, right here is where you're going to want to mount it, because it does have a TV backer. Right here is your little satellite outlet. With that green light on, is telling you that that satellite is on. I always leave that on because it improves radio frequency as well, but you can turn it off. And then in the kitchen area is where you're going to find your main GFI plug. So with that green light on is telling you that the plugs are on and working. You got test on the bottom, reset on the top. If you ever have a plug that doesn't work, always just give that main plug a reset. And then right above my head here, you do have your air conditioner. It does say that this puts out heat, but it doesn't actually put out any heat. It is just an air conditioner. You have this little knob here. If you turn that this way to the gray option, you're running just your fan. Now that's going to be your fan with no cooling involved, so it's just moving air around. Now if you turn it over to the blue, this is when you get your air conditioner working and you're putting out cold air. Now you can also close these louvers or leave them open, whatever you prefer. That is about it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.